Watcher, welcome back to Delboy's Garage. Right, this is number 15 of Project Bandit. It's rolling along, can't believe it's number 15 already. And today we're going to involve ourselves with this. This is the Undertray that would have gone up underneath the back end before we put the trellis in. But because the trellis is now in there, it and one other thing's got to have a little bit of surgery before we can use it and fit it. So we're going to be dealing with that tonight, and I've got a great little how-to tip for you. Now, before we do that, I just want to say thank you so much for all the support, Penny, don't we? Absolutely amazing. It is purely the support that's driving this along right now. We set out to do this project, and the idea was that we were just going to do, if any of you remember back at the beginning, I did make a pledge that I'm just going to build my bike, I'm going to enjoy it, going to really have good fun with it, focus on the job itself, get it done as quick as possible, and once a week just do a how-to, the story so far. But in the end, it's ended up just being so much love, so much feedback, so many of you saying you're absolutely waiting for the next one, you're absolutely loving it, that we're just uploading every bit in the end. And while you're enjoying it, then we are. Somebody said in the last comments section in the last video that they could have done without watching 5 minutes of stripping plastic off wire. Well, you can always fast forward, mate. And the other side of it is that demonstrates how long these projects are. It's a lot of it. There's a lot of work that you don't really realise goes in. It's nice to watch a video that's nicely edited and bounces along from scene to scene, but that gets a little bit boring when you're the other side of it. Probably we'll film 2.5 hours in the course of this evening, and I'll let it down to about 10 to 20 minutes, 10 to 18 minutes, hopefully, and to keep it interesting for you. But believe me, in any project there are hundreds and hundreds of hours of work, and that's why so many projects get abandoned. And also that brings me to the next thing before we get stuck into what we're going to do tonight. The reason that I want to do this project in a certain way, there are so many things I want to get involved in. I'm going to be doing things with the front fairing, things with the front fender, things with the rear hugger, if you like. I'm going to deal with that. The tank's going to get dealt with in a very interesting way. The engine cage, which I built before, is going to get some surgery. All of these are mini projects along the way, but I'm sticking with this back end and I'm not thinking about anything else. Lots of you are asking, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Really, I don't know. I can't answer that. I don't know, because I'm not focusing on it. I'm just casting it out of my mind. It's a way of blotting it out, so I'm just focusing on what I'm doing, and then I can hopefully move forward. It keeps the videos a bit interesting. I don't want any of this bike's build to suffer because of the videos, and I don't equally want the videos to suffer because the build is boring. So I'm trying to balance it, and hopefully we're getting it right, because the hits are amazing. We normally get 250, maybe 300 hits in a day on a new video, and then it kind of trickles its way along to about 1,000 after maybe a week or 10 days. Lately, this project, we're hitting nearly 1,000 hits in 25, 26 hours. Absolutely astonishing. So thank you for that. Thank you so much. I just want to say, don't we, Pen? Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you a lot. It really means so much. It's inspiring and it keeps us going. For instance, it's 8 p.m. I've just got home from a 9.5 hour shift, and I just want to do some more. I've been thinking about this, doing my job today, thinking what I want to do with this. I know there's a bit of an awkward bit of work's got to be done to this, so I want to get stuck into it tonight, get it filmed, and hopefully get it uploaded by midnight. So there we go, stick around, stay tuned, got lots to do. Right, that's the thing. It kind of goes up under there and houses the fuse box, the IC igniter, the battery, various bits and pieces. And we cut it short because I cut the frame short, but that's a little bit too long, purely because where I hacksawed that off was right behind this chassis saddle, and probably about 2 or 3 mil behind. But now right there I've welded a bar across, so I just want to take a little bit off the front of that. The other side of it is, if you see on this, that kind of where that comes out there used to come out here. It actually used to protrude out this gap, so I've got to trim that off so it goes back in and fits. But before I can do anything at all with that, I've got to deal with the first cock up. And yes, they do happen. Now this is they do. Right, now this obviously, come on down close, this is the rear brake fluid reservoir. And yep, I could put a little tiny short thing in there if I chose to, but I kind of like having a proper one in the proper place. And it used to live here, and I kind of just undid it, moved it out of the way and let it dangle on its hose, and then I welded this nice trellis tube in. And I found that if I feed it back through, it kind of sits where it's meant to, but kind of misses the hole just by about all 1.5 holes. So that hole there, hang on, you can see that sitting kind of there. And if we put that back through, out of harm's way. Yeah, the paint's scratched already. It's about probably half a hole out. So what I've got to do is drill a little hole in there, just a little one, so I can poke a handy nut and bolt through and bolt that back in place, because that needs to sit somewhere. It can't flex around and hang in the air. And then once that's there, bolted in place, then I've got some space to get the undertray. So that's the first task. Right, one bolt. And a nut to fit it. Spend more time raking through these bolt and nut boxes than anything else. There we go, that's going to fit. First time. Yeah. Yay. Hey, freaked myself out, I'm so good. Right, there we are. Nice little nut and bolt for the job. Now, just going to mark it. Actually, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Go back in. Not a lot of room to move, but bang on, yeah. Just double check where we marked it. One good strike. When you centre punch anything, just hit it once. If you go tap, 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 invariably the centre punch will mark and you'll get like a little machine gun mark. Poke a 5mm through that, I think. And hopefully all this will do is I can mount that in position. Every custom bike, any custom bike, is always a hodgepodge of different adaptations. Switch this on. Did you switch that off? You switch. Power, please, woman.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Just let me off. But nothing
See what I have to
happened.
part with? Do you see what I have to?
Sorry.
What was funny about that then?
Nothing happened.
Monkey boy doesn't know there's no power.
I went to say, and you were talking, so I didn't say anything.
You went to say what?
I went to say, you haven't got it turned on. You didn't say, you were talking, I couldn't say.
I know. Talk too much. Turns out it's a 6mm anyway. There we go, that'll fit now. I can turn it off now. Okay. Doesn't want to. Just pull it up a little bit. That's it. Done. Here you go. That's the reservoir run already. That's it. Next one. All I've got to do now, I just want to literally slice these back edges out, and then I'm ready to start test fitting it. And I will put gloves on. Shut that door. Right. It's going to get flamed again, I reckon. I don't know about this. Right. Now these blades, I've been using them for a long time. You kind of need to just a little bit at a time away from you, and they do slice off. This plastic is brilliant, and I'm doing it in strips for a reason, not because it's easier, but that is absolutely perfect for plastic welding. It's like a soldering rod, like a little weld rod. So I make little strips of it and then I keep them all. And it's by far and away better than cable ties. Cable ties are a great second best. But there's nothing as good as this plastic, because often you're welding this plastic. This is what your fairing's made of. If you don't know, I'll tell you now, this is what your fairing's made of. All your high booster there, You look at all that lovely shiny painted fairing, that is exactly this stuff underneath the skin. All they do is paint it. It's as simple as that. So if you ever have to plastic weld a fairing, this is the perfect item to use. Quite handy this, because when you're cutting with it, you just got to twist it, and that kind of steers it. So you can make it quite accurate. If you want to come out of a cut, just steer it out. It's quite easy to use. And if you're going to use it, a little tip is a bit like discs. When you're cutting with discs, let the blade do the cutting. If you're cutting into that, it doesn't matter how hard you pull that, it won't move any quicker. You can drag that so hard you're straining, or you can just give it the same amount of pull and it moves at the same speed. And then when you come out the other end, if you're not pulling too hard, it doesn't go bang towards you, because obviously you can imagine the damage that could do. Stanley knives, if you talk to any emergency medical people, they'll tell you that the good old venerable Stanley knife is the cause of a great deal of their work. Right, all I've done is sliced off the side and that side, so now it's just a case of offering it up repeatedly just to see if we can get it to fit and where it touches. Right, the back's looking good. Just some little bits down the front there. So it fits a little bit closer each time you offer it up. There. A bit there. Shavings, baby. It really is just so time consuming, this bit. Just trimming up each little bit that catches on the frame. And it's scary as well. It's getting close now. It's kind of almost there. Just little bits that are rubbing. Been at this roughly an hour and a half now, and there it is in. Now it's not perfect. There are 4 bolts that hold this in, little captive bolts in the frame, and all I'm going to do is just finger tight bolt them in, just so that they're in. And it's located at least. It still could do with a little bit more trimming so it absolutely fits, but I keep having to remind myself it's a rat and survival bike, it's not important as long as it fits. And I want the fasteners that bolt this on to fit without sort of pinching or anything. That's it. Now it's not, like all these things, best laid plans, it's not been the perfect fit that I'd hoped it would be, mainly because this sits lower than the hole there. I was hoping to get a line where you couldn't see through this, just on the side. You are going to see that, which is nothing I can do about it, but once it's black it will still look cool. There we are, 4 bolts in. Now this was obviously a big old undertray before. There you go. Now the back was cut across there. I've trimmed it down a bit. All I'm going to do is just drill through there and just cable tie that up so that's solid when it needs to be. But there we are. Let's pull it back. There's the plastic. So obviously I've cut this as much as I can so I can see through it. Just getting a little bit of a look through, I don't know. There'll be some more trimming to come. But I think all this demonstrates what I was saying earlier, that there is time. When you do projects, it's just time. You know, come home from work tonight, it's now 10 o'clock. We spent roughly 2 hours at this and just cut the bulk of it out, purely because I wanted this in its situ, in its position, so I can then decide where the wiring's going. That's the next thing. So it's in, that's it, under tray, job done. Thankfully that's another one ticked off. It will come out again. I'm not going to bolt it in permanently, because like all these things, you do them and then when I start running the wire into the backlight and the indicators, it's going to need pulling out, putting back in, so I'm not going to bolt it in finally until we're really finished. So there we are, that was it. Not very interesting, I'm afraid. You're going to use one of these things, a hook Stanley blade. I don't teach you how to suck eggs, just be careful. Put some gloves on. Really, I've cut one of the glove thumbs open, just slipping off, catching, so no blood, no injuries, but it's not by not taking caution. So there we are, that's it for tonight. Just wanted to say thank you so much for everything. Thanks for all of the amazing support. I know the project's got this, all projects get to a stage where they're just ticking over boring jobs. I am waiting for some parts at the moment, and until those bits come I can't move on to the next stage. There's so much of this that I want to get involved in. There's the front end, there's other stuff at the back end, like I said earlier, and I'm just not focusing on any of it, just blotted it out. This is what I'm focusing on for the minute. That now that tail tidy's in, or the under tray's in, I can now focus on running the wiring and then moving on so I can get it ready for the big one, get it ready for that tail panel. So there we are. Thanks for tuning in and watching Delboy's Garage. That's been number 15. Hope you enjoyed it. Take it easy, ride safe, and always see you for the next one.